And this week we're talking to the fantastic, splendiferous, fantabulous Browless Seth, the man behind awesome indie rock band Totally Overrated Sellouts. And we're going to be talking to him in just a moment after we play the first of his tracks that we've got lined up for you tonight by Totally Overrated Sellouts. This is That's What I Get.
Just when everything was making sense, you stripped away all my self-confidence. Now all that I've been hearing must be true. Guess I'm not the only boy for you. That's what I get. That's what I get. That's what I get. That's what I get. Turn me into this. After you just taught me how to kiss you, I told you I'd never say goodbye. Now I'm sipping on the tears you made.
That's What I Get by the Totally Overrated Sellouts. And what did you know, sweethearts? Right now we just happen to be talking to the man behind Totally Overrated Sellouts, the inimitable, unique Browless Seth. Yeah. Yay. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Seth. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be on the show.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And just want to give a quick shout out to our very own Professor P-Soop, who managed to dig you up for us. Tell me, how long have you known the Professor?
I've known Professor for a few years. We were slinging cassette tapes at the subways back in the 90s together, and he started commenting on my music, and he makes very good feedback for my music. So he's been able to not just float my boat, so to say, but to tell me where I could use some work. And I really appreciated that. And we actually became pretty good friends. He has actually helped me out a lot in life.
Okay, well, moving straight on, this is the first thing that we always ask all our guests. Tell me, what did you listen to growing up? What were your initial musical inspirations and influences?
So growing up, I was only allowed to listen to gospel music, and not that rocky kind. And my parents were Nazarenes, card-carrying members. And whenever I was about 4 or so, I started learning piano, and so it was the classical music. I was allowed to listen to classical music and gospel. I loved the rap. I think, who was out big then? Vanilla Ice, man. And I'd look at those magazines and be like, I'm going to be like Vanilla Ice. Well, my mom would have slapped me down. Prayed the demons out of me if she knew that. So she'd take me to the Christian bookstore, and I'm sorry, Cornerstone Christian Bookstore in Phoenix Mall, but I would steal these rap Christian CDs that I wasn't allowed to listen to and hide them underneath my mattress. And
good God, even when you rebelled with rap CDs, it was Christian rap, yeah? Well, how is the Christian rap scene? Was the stuff any good at all?
Yeah, it's as good as you can imagine.
Gosh, that's quite something. How do you feel about that now, that kind of upbringing?
I think that music, it really played a pivotal role in my development and such, because I'm learning classical music. My piano teacher was retiree from the Philadelphia Philharmonic Orchestra. She did for 20 years violin and piano, and she was tops. But, family was a little weird. We were homeschooled and things, and I think parents kind of sent me and my sisters out there for, social interaction, something to do. And they were, 5-6 years older than me. I was the baby. So I think I just kind of went along, get kids out of the house for 3 hours. But I'm the only one that stuck with it. It wasn't that great of an idea, but all of this, gospel music that I had, and then the classical music too, I'm learning how to put emotion into music. I'm learning how to speak without the words, but then also at the same time, I'm just being influxed with this music that says a message every time. So I'm learning how to get a message out. I just didn't know what message I wanted to put out.
Yeah, so tell me, at what point did you make the transition to non-religious music? Because obviously the parents can't keep a total hold over their kids forever. There comes a point when the kids grow up. How was it for you when you discovered music outside of that sphere? You know what I mean?
I suppose I was pretty young, because I do remember things throughout my life from way back then that was with my piano teacher, who's, to me, is just like this goddess. I don't know. But I remember asking her, how do these rock bands write songs? And she told me, well, pretty much take your right pinky and that's your vocal line, and your left pinky's the bass, and everything in between. And I started pretty much just rearranging what I'd learned. So she'd teach me a song with 4 measures, and I'd play, song in measure 2 and 4, and then 1 and 3, and it was creative, and she was impressed. So she really started nurturing that in me. And like I say, I wanted to do it. I just didn't know what message I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do gospel for whatever reason my entire life.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, was it at the point at which you left home that you started hearing music by non-Christian bands?
Well, I tell you, the first album that I ever heard, I was depressed. My girlfriend left me. Parents were kicking me out of the house because I was too much rebellious. I'm 17 years old. I'd already graduated high school and was in college and didn't know what to do.
Well, outside of that, I was at my friend's house moping and doping about, my problems. And he had some marijuana, we're smoking some, and he said, Seth, shut up. He said, I'm going to put this cassette tape in, and you don't say a word till it's over. He says, and this is all a keyboard player. And he pulls out this black cassette tape and puts it in and plays it from end to end. I didn't say a word, and I was like, whoa, what?
What was the band that was on that black cassette?
So that black cassette was Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails.
How about that? That was your introduction, to the world of music.
Yeah, that's right. And it was the perfect emotion that I'd been learning in music and everything. And it was the rebelliousness, I think, of it. I think it was the angst of it all was really attractive to me. See, my parents were not satisfied. And so fast forward to what I'm talking about at this time, I'm 17. I started learning when I was about 4 through this really excellent piano teacher that's really nurturing me, because I'm a weird kid anyways. Didn't get along with other kids very well. I just wanted to play piano all the time. Dad wanted anything but a musician child. And so for years it would go on that, my parents would drive off down the old dirt road, and you could imagine, you could see the dirt going behind the car, and you could see it out the window. And once I saw that they had turned onto the main road about a mile down, I would push the piano over to that window across the room, and I'd play and I'd play and I'd play and I'd play for hours till they were coming home, and I could see the cloud of dust, and I'd push the piano back against the wall, scuff up the carpet so it didn't look like I was there, and open a book and be sitting there whenever they walked in the door, because I wasn't allowed to do the music that much. I was supposed to be doing construction or a lawyer or something. So then getting this whole rebellious sort of message coming through this music, and it really hit me, and I thought, okay, maybe this is my message. And I don't think I ever realized it till right now talking to you, but I think that's really been my obsession, is to figure out what my message is. I know how to tell a message.
Yeah.
I know how to get there. What is mine? And I think I was searching for myself, of course. And I thought for a long time that the message was the anger and was the angst. But I think now I just finally somehow realized that, no, it's being me. Me.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I think it's the same for an awful lot of artists, that before you even get as far as any sort of big philosophy, it's simply a matter of working out who you are and what you're about. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course this guy was now my idol, and I had others. They were Keith Green and David Meese, and just phenomenal piano playing gospel artists. Sort of the blues gospel rock thing is Rocky I was allowed to listen to. So I had that influence, but then I had this new raw secular influence. They cussed on there, and it was brave, and yeah, I really liked it. And I pursued that maybe too much for a while, but then I remember telling somebody, I want to be the next Trent Reznor. And they said, no, man, that's wrong. And I never had anybody tell me that before. It says, what's your goal in life? And okay, we're going to, be a bunch of Fruit Loops and support each other no matter what they say. And this guy said, no, man. He said, you will never, ever, ever achieve that. He said, you're better than that. You're you. And nobody will ever, 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 ever be able to be you.
Oh, well, that's a good way to turn it on its head, yeah.
It was interesting. I wasn't raised like that. I was very violent, very interesting growing up.
Yeah, I'll say. Okay, well, we're going to be talking more in just a moment about your evolution as a musician. But before we do, tell us a little bit about the song that we opened up with, a track by the name of That's What I Get. Tell me about that.
That's What I Get. Now, That's What I Get was on that first album that I was telling you about, Pretty Hate Machine, written by Trent Reznor. It's an amazing story of love, but of accepting your own mistake, even if your mistake was to be fooled. And there's something in that I hadn't encountered before, acceptance and moving it forward anyways. And I always wanted to do it, and I had it tracked out and everything, and I was doing a sound check, and I just hit the piano, and it was the piano sound, and I just played it through, and there was something magical about it, and I said, okay, I'll take it.
Fantastic. I totally dig what you're saying. Even the biggest disasters and the worst mistakes and failures, even those can turn out to be of value, so long as you know how to use them and learn from them. It's our failures and our mistakes that make us,
Right. And the message I get from that particular song, the message I get is, yeah, so what if it's your fault, So what if you messed up? That's what you get for believing that the world was peaches and gravy. And it's not, but here's a beautiful song out of it, so let's do it.
Okay, great. Well, gonna play another track now by Totally Overrated Sellouts, your awesome band, and it's entitled, it's entitled Bad Meds. Tell me about that.
Okay, so Bad Meds, it's a phenomenal journey. I had written the parts for the song as individual parts 2 years ago, and I wanted to do something hardcore and more metal, but I had no ideas for it. And then one day it just kind of came out. I was brokenhearted, believe it or not, and I'd had my heart broken, and I just wanted to do music because that's what soothes my savage beast, of course. And in doing this music, I wanted to think about anything except for what broke my heart. And so I tried to write a song about something else, and the way that it intertwined, because I was naturally obsessed about what broke my heart and my breaking heart, and so the story kind of intertwined, and it turned out to be a really good message. So it's about somebody that comes into your life and offers help, but their interest is not in helping you. Their interest is in being the helper, I guess, and they don't care if the medicine is poison. And if you listen to the song, it goes bad, like it has taken this bad medicine.
Fantastic.
And then taking this also is I always want to do a political thing, and so I purposefully made each song from the That's What I Get 9 Inch Nails cover, and the way I personalized it to the bad meds, and it goes on and on. There's a theme, and it's paralleling the relationship between a person and their partner, or like romantic partner, and problems there. And it also could be, for me, a lot of times it's written about a citizen and his government. And so how that relationship, it really kind of follows the same lines. I was supposed to get this. I gave you everything. You're offering me this. You're offering me this program, and that sort of fallback. And now I'm worse off than I was before. It could be a girlfriend that broke my heart, or it could be a government that made promises they didn't follow through on.
Yeah. Well, here it is then, sweethearts. By Totally Overrated Sellouts, an ode to codependency, bad meds.
That's perfect. That's exactly what it is.
Well, I was just minding my own business, and you were there behind me. I didn't notice you at first, and you had something there in your hands. I said, hey, that's mine. You said, that's right. You said, I dropped it, it's falling apart. You picked it up off the floor, and you put it together for me to make me whole again. You see, I'm sick, you said. I'm sick and I need some medicine. I'm sick, you said, and I'm dying there on the spot.
Bad Meds by Totally Overrated Sellouts, and we're talking to the genius behind Totally Overrated Sellouts, Browless Seth. Okay, now Seth, talked about the point at which you managed to break out into the outside world of music and other things as well, but what were the early bands that you started getting involved with? Because I understand there's been a few, right?
Sure. So my friend and I, Zach Moonshine, he's now the owner and creator of Metal Devastation Radio, of all things. And we were just best buds, and still are. So our first gig, we found this church that played like punk rock music for the worship, and people had mohawks, and I was raised in the church, so we went to this church. We noticed there was different bands every time there was Sunday, so we said, can we play Sunday or whatever? And they said, maybe Sunday night. And we didn't even know what the hell we were going to do. And I had like 3 songs written on this cheesy keyboard, and I just said yes. I said, yeah, we'll do it. And we called ourselves Jester, and it was me and him. I wanted to be called the Nazi Jew, and he was going to be called something else, and I don't know what that was about. But we were, 16, 17.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. It was horrible. People clapped and danced because it was, thank God, it was the church environment, so they had to be nice, you know. So they clapped, and I didn't even know why. Zach, I love you, Zach, if you're listening, but I'm going to tell the story. He froze. So we kind of practiced and things like that, what we were going to do, and we really didn't have a clue. And when we went to get up on stage, he stood there with his bass the entire thing and wouldn't plug it in or anything.
Oh.
I told him, come on, Zach. And he'd look at me and he'd look at the people and he'd just shake his head no.
Jesus. Oh, that's terrible. The guy just froze, just dried on you, so you were having to carry the whole show by yourself with the aid of your keyboard.
And that was something that started as the first one. I said, okay, it's time to go, and I just went and did it. Mm-hmm. And I had to do that a few times. That's a character trait I'm really proud of. The show has always gone on. Browless Seth. Tell you, whether it was Jester and then, I don't remember all the names. The Gin Blossoms. I don't know if you've heard of the Gin Blossoms. They were rehearsing locally and had heard that I played keyboards because I was in some Grateful Dead jam band at this time. And I'm talking maybe in my early 20s. Called the Galactic Prophylactics, of all things. Wow! So, come down and jam with these guys. And I went down there with my little cheap keyboard and set it up. And I said, okay, where's the sheet music? And they said, what? Sheet music are you talking about? And I said, for the songs. Are we going to play songs? And they said, yeah, man, we can give you the chords. And I said, huh? That's for guitars. And it was a disaster. And then that was the moment that I realized, oh, I better relearn this whole skill that I've been doing for like 20 years. And so, you know, that opened the door for improv and for playing the blues. So I've done classical. I've worked for a movie studio doing soundtracks. I've done industrial metal, pop, hip-hop, and tried my hand at gospel.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be talking in just a moment about the birth of Totally Overrated Sellouts, about how that came to be in just a moment. But before we do, going to play another track, and hoping you could tell us about this one, a track by the name of Shake Me.
Shake me till there's nothing left. Shake me till there's nothing but faith. Man, that was some synth pop, gospel, underground CD that I was no way allowed to listen to. It was of the devil. And it's from this CD called Painted Orange, and it had a picture of an orange on there, and it was dirty. I mean, it was brand new, and the CD was like dirty, and I put it right in my pocket because I knew Mom wouldn't buy it, and I asked the Lord for forgiveness later, and that song was on there, and it influenced my life so much. This I don't know, it's this disco dancey sort of, but minor chords. And anyways, so they were the Depeche Mode, I guess, the underground Depeche Mode of the gospel scene, if you can imagine. And I was only allowed to listen to hymns, so it was taboo, and I loved it since everywhere. And so I ended up getting a hold of Painted Orange, and I said, man, I love that song. Can my band please do a cover of it? And they said, we'd be honored. And I said, what? And so I did, and it's one of the most fun things I've ever done. Dave Denman plays on a few tracks, and he's a phenomenal guitar player. Just his diversity and what he does. And that's not in the original, and when we sent it to them, they loved it, and I love it. So we always open with that song because it's our powerhouse song. We got a long powerhouse intro, as you were going to hear, and I love it.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Well, here it is then. Originally by Painted Orange, but now reinterpreted by Totally Overrated Sellouts. Shake Me.
If you thought you had to travel far to savor the pad thai of Bangkok, or to taste the pastries of Paris, take another look. With 2 times total points at grocery stores, your same kitchen can come with more cuisines. Sapphire Preferred from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Valid up to $1,000 in purchases per month from November 1st, 2020 to April 30th, 2021. Account subject to credit approval. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Well, hello, Winn-Dixie. Bro, are you feeling that freshness?
Oh, there's freshness in the air.
Produce that Winn-Dixie guarantees we'll love or our money back. Fresh Winn. Oh, yeah. And the certified Angus beef brand, a cut above USDA choice. Fresh Winn. Plus, fresh, sustainable seafood. Cooking is easy with the Cooking Back Fish and Veggies meal for just $6.
That's a fresh on Fresh Winn.
An avalanche of freshness.
An epic freshnado, my fresh bro.
The Winn-Dixie app has all the wins. Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. See store for details.
Please don't hold me back. Watch me, see it all around me. Look as I'm falling apart. Shake me till there's nothing left. Shake me till there's nothing but faith. Shake me till there's nothing
Shake Me by Totally Overrated Sellouts. And right now we're talking to the man behind Totally Overrated Sellouts, the awesome Browless Seth. However, Seth, for the benefit of the listeners, we haven't even asked you yet, what exactly is your role within Totally Overrated Sellouts?
Well, they call me Browless Seth on account I don't have much for eyebrows, and that's my proof right there. While everyone else was busy taking care of their eyebrows, I was working on music. And so... it's a long story, but the short end of it, there was a band in Phoenix that was called Torso. And it was my baby, and I was, at the very least, partner of the band, epicenter, as well as, the singer and things. And we were popular, and the breakup happened, and we were such equal influencers of the band that it was who gets the name Torso. And so there was a little fight about that, because there was money in it. I mean, it was golden. So we both just ignored each other and went on to use the name. And I got an insult one time. It said, "Why do you even go on? You're just an overrated sellout." And then they said that the overrated went OR and the sellout went SO. And I said, totally. And there you go. There was the Torso, TORSO, Totally Overrated Sellouts. So that way we both win. And they can talk all the crap they want to, because it is the toughest name in the world. Because with a name like Totally Overrated Sellouts, we can do whatever the hell we want to do. And I can't think of anything more metal than that. So
Yeah.
I love metal. And, people tell me, your music's not metal. And I tell them, yeah, what are you doing? The same thing they've been doing for 35 years? I do what I want. Tell me that's not metal. So up here's rhythm guitar players. Not really rhythm guitar players. I need you on my next album.
Awesome.
And I am the Browless Seth, and something that I came up with, and what it is the Sellouts encompasses everybody. Even the crowd is like part of the Sellouts. And the listener, because it wouldn't go on without them. And because of that, I'm the root core of it. So just like Nine Inch Nails was back in the day. And there are people that play along with it. And to me, they are part of the band. Somebody stands up and watches the merch booth while we play, they get an equal cut of that show, just like they were on stage. But of course, people have their lives and their families and things like that, and they can't just travel around being Browless Seth. And so we've had many members recording on different things, and it's a big mix. I love the fact that to me, it's not a one-man band sort of idea, because up here in Alaska, I have a drummer, Bruce Middleton, and he's fantastic. He's a jazz fusion drummer, and he is on point. He and I play shows, and then it'll just be he and I. And it's always for the good of the show. What is for the good of the show? So it could be a completely different show here as it would be in Phoenix. Same songs, but it would be maybe different instrumentalists. Because in Phoenix, I know a guitar player and a bass player that will jump on the stage. And then that is the Sellouts then, and it moves on. Hopefully someday I'll find somebody that's crazy enough like me just to throw all caution to the wind and be a nomad. So.
Yeah. Anybody else who regularly shows up in recordings or performing live who you want to give a shout out to?
Currently, there's 49th State Records picked us up for a recording deal, and so it's been phenomenal. And they put us in touch with some musicians, and yeah, definitely. There's Dave Denman, is phenomenal, as I mentioned before, and he's a guitar player. Bruce Middleton on the drums. Another percussionist named Chris. Chris was the Alaskan native percussion, and he would add this special sort of flavor to it and some sort of dance. Steve Kewen. Thanks, Steve, for all you do. He's a horse jockey, and so we started doing some of his musical ideas. Well, we just told him they're ours now, and he said, that's awesome. So, but he's on one of our songs, and pretty much anybody that wants to be a part of it can be a part of it as long as they want to.
And tell me, do you have any help with writing the songs, or is it all your work? Is there any element of collaboration involved?
Lately, no. Lately, I've been doing it. It's just been coming. I guess I'm stuck with the job. Being creative, for me, is natural. And it's not for everybody, but they're better performers than I am. And everybody has their treasures, of course. And so, no, I've just been doing all the writing myself. I got all the great equipment. I keep getting new things, and I watch a lot of keyboard porn. Just watching how things hook up, and then I experiment. What if I hook it up this way? And I try to do everything live. Everything is made to be live, even though, it's not like a DJ, just preset everything. It's not meant to be that way. everything is volatile. It could fall apart at any moment is the part that I love about it being live.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of different things going on, a lot of different tracks and loops going on, and it could crash at any moment. And so paying attention to it that way and using different gears. So I use a looper, a guitar pedal for the vocals. I got a violin and guitar and a bass and things, and I don't use them so conventionally. I might use the bass for a drum track because of the way that it sounds when it slaps and things. But then trying to incorporate that and pull it off live, one right after the other, and it's a lot of fun. It's just really cool. But since I've been doing it that way for the past year, I guess I've really been exclusively doing it that way. And so the writing has just kind of been flowing out. You know, I'll ask other good writers and things if they have any influence, and they say, nope, it's good. So I don't know if that means they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole or it's fine. It probably just means it's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, from what we've been hearing, it sounds absolutely awesome. Okay, well, going to be talking more about your musical endeavours, in particular your time on the live circuit, in just a moment. But before we do, we're going to play another track by Totally Overrated Sellouts, and hoping you could tell us a little about it. It's a track entitled Signs Around Us.
Signs Around Us. The song says, we keep wondering why the times seem mad like this, and the signs are all around us all the time. And that's pretty much the message. Oh man, this song came to me literally through the walls of a hotel, and I thought that there was a party next door, and I went to go crash that party, and there was no party next door. It was, I don't know what it was. The walls were vibrating, and I was exhausted enough that I was hearing it as a rhythm in music, and I got out a pen and paper and I plagiarized it. Plagiarized my imagination. And the message behind it, it's pretty obvious message, is clean up your side of the street. Don't stand around talking about what problems are in your life, in your relationships. You can talk about those later. Now's the time to accept the fact that there is a problem, and if there is a problem, you need to be doing something to fix it. And it's kind of a message to my son, who's 11 now, and this was written 5 years ago, so it's a message to him as far as part of my fathering technique of try to get my son to be a better man than I am. And so it's kind of a guide to life.
Okay. No, that's absolutely awesome, and terribly self-deprecating as well. It seems like you do well enough.
Oh, thank you. We get along pretty good. I have 3 kids, 2 beautiful daughters, and they're 22 and 23. And their names are Elise, named after the Fur Elise song by Beethoven. And I have another daughter named Annie, who's named after a mention of the word Annie in the Nine Inch Nails' The Becoming. And my son is named after the only other rock star I know, and that's myself. So he's Seth the Second. And they're creative as hell, wonderful kids. So then the song Signs, it's about taking action. It's about observing and taking action, but it really points out a lot of the key problems in life. And it's not the problem that the person down the road is a different color, goes to a different church, or doesn't like me or does like me, or, you know, these aren't the problems. The problem is the problem. And to not focus on each other, focus on yourself, and focus on yourself, and there wouldn't be a problem. And if we hand off things to our girlfriends, we hand off to them. Maybe to my girlfriend, sometimes I would think I'm going to hand off to them whether or not I'm valuable, depending on whether or not they want to be with me. If they want to be with me, I must be cool. And now I'm valuable anyways. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's none of my business what they think or what they say. So whenever I take and I hand things off to other people that are important to me, things like my wages or my emotions, and I hand that off for someone else to take care of, it turns bad. And so it really gets directly and really points out the exact problems. The problem isn't that guy comes from a bad neighborhood and is on drugs and robbed you. The problem is you don't have freaking money. So get off your ass and fix the problem, and then we'll talk later on about how it happened.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, here it is then by Totally Overrated Sellouts, Signs Around Us.
The totally overrated sellouts.
This is your time. But when mama found out
Signs Around Us by Totally Overrated Sellouts. And yeah, we're talking to the man whose brainchild Totally Overrated Sellouts is right now, none other than the inimitable Browless Seth. Okay, well, already talked a little bit about the revolving door lineup, shall we say, of people that you've got involved performing live, but do you get the chance to perform out live much? What sort of audiences do you perform to?
We will play live in front of any audience. And, of course, we aim for the rock venues. But, you know, we played Pizza Joint. We played a park. We played a cemetery. And that was the only show that nobody walked out of. Of course, they were all dead. So, and we did that. It's turned into a sort of a phrase, you know, like talking to dead ears. Trying to explain something to somebody who's already made up in their mind that you're wrong or something and has a different opinion. And it's like singing to the cemetery. This is the phrase that we use. In fact, there will be a song about it coming up someday.
Fantastic. So you consider yourself a real aficionado of the live scene then?
I love live shows. Something about that energy there is live shows. And I like to be as close to the stage and the speakers as possible.
Cool, so guess whether it's just you performing solo or you've got a live band behind you, either way, there's no reliance on backing tapes, huh?
No, I will perform a lot of the songs on the piano. So they will be different than what you've heard. Anything that it has backing will be run live via a looper. It's all live.
Oh, fantastic. I remember you telling me about one or two close friends you've had. In particular, who was the drummer that you mentioned earlier on?
So we had a drummer that was Bruce.
Yeah?
Was one of our drummers, and he was an eclectic jazz drummer. Really fantastic drummer. One of my favorites that I've worked with. On the guitar, there was Dave Denman, played guitar, and he's the guitar player on a couple of the songs, Signs Around Us and Bills.
Oh, awesome, because Signs Around Us is really something special. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to?
I want to give a big shout out to 49 State Records, who's helped us out a lot with the recording, and it's kind of taken us under their wing as far as distribution and such. For the future, there are future things to look forward to that I cannot mention.
Oh, awesome. Yes, that's going to be a bit of a problem in a moment when I ask you what you've got planned for the future. But no matter. In the meantime, going to play another track and hoping you could tell us a little about this one. It's a track entitled Bills.
Okay, that was Bills. Dave Denman plays the guitars on there. Phenomenal guitar player. Good friend of mine as well. He lives in Michigan. And that song was written about greedy people that are greedy, and their own personal value is based off of their money and what they do with their money. And so it's about people that the only time that they'll give money away is if they can say, hey, look at what I've done.
Yeah.
They don't really have compassion. And it's about having compassion and about seeing from the outside view how I am sometimes. You know, do I do things for the right reasons, or do I do things for myself to make myself look good?
Okay, well, here it is then, sweethearts. That most rarest of artifacts, a self-critical song written by a moral fag. Here it is, Totally Overrated Sellouts with Bills.
He was like me, then he wouldn't be.
Bills by Totally Overrated Sellouts, and we're talking right now to our very special guest, awesome singer-songwriter and self-declared one-man band, Browless Seth, the man behind Totally Overrated Sellouts. Now, Seth, as you were saying earlier, you've got some pretty awesome plans lined up for the very near future, but unfortunately you can't say too much about them, is that right?
Yes, big plans. And that's about all I can say.
Oh, really?
In the meantime, you can follow step by step on the edge of your seats on Facebook, of course. We have an Instagram that we keep updated very regularly, Totally Overrated Sellouts. It's the same handle across all of the boards. We have Twitter, which I'm trying to keep updated. And currently I do it all, so I try to keep up with everything, but I try to make it all different. So try to follow us on all of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, and Bandcamp.
Awesome. Is that where we can get hold of Totally Overrated Sellouts music, just on Bandcamp?
It is where you can get a hold of it, and on SoundCloud as well. And I try to keep it different. So every now and again, I'll pop up a little secret song that we've just done, and then I'll take it down shortly afterwards, maybe a week or so later. Occasionally we'll have for a free download and keep up with the freshest what's going on now, and it's going to be pretty cool. I can say that.
Brilliant. You hear that, sweethearts? It's a great way of making sure that fans keep a constant eye on Totally Overrated Sellouts Bandcamp, where you'll always be finding new stuff that's taken down 5 minutes later. How cunning. Okay, well, we're going to sign off in just a moment, Seth. But before we do, hoping you could tell us a little bit about the last track of yours that we're going to sign out with. And it's another track by Totally Overrated Sellouts entitled America.
Oh, America is a very special song to me. America sums up the relationship between a man and his country. And like I may have said before, the whole album as a concept compares the relationship of a man and his lover and the man and his country, and how they're similar in certain ways. There's the give and the take, and there's the frustration, and yet the loyalty is there. And so what I've done is I've taken an old patriotic song written back in the development of America and rewritten that in sort of a more modern, sort of an angrier tone. Because, you know, as countries can do, they can fail us if we just depend on them completely. And just like a relationship between a person and their lover, so to say, it's a give and take. You can't just take. And when you just take, well, you're going to end up angry. And I got to write one of the lyrics, which I was very happy to do. It's towards the end, and I'll let you guys figure out which one I wrote. So.
Brilliant. Okay, very well. Thanks so much for coming and joining us, Seth. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and wishing you all the best with all these fantastic, awesome plans you've got lined up, whatever they may be. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Luis.
Oh, no sweat. And since we've come to the end of the show, just want to thank my co-host, Professor p-soop, for backing me up, same as he always and forever shall always do, until he finds a way of escaping, no doubt. Thanks also to The Abyss for Mutters from the Gutter, and thanks also to our special guest, Browless Seth, the man behind the fantastically underrated, Totally Overrated Sellouts. And we're going to sign out now with another track by the Sellouts themselves. This is America. So, till next week then, sweethearts, kind regards, mwah!
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties. Above the fruited plain, don't tread on me, 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 don't tread on me. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims' feet in stern and passion stress, a thoroughfare of freedom's beat across the wilderness, singing na na na. Oh, beautiful. America.
singing na na na.
In a noisy, stressful world, quiet is the most valuable commodity, and the cabin of every Lincoln vehicle is designed with this principle in mind. Should you desire a little more melody, our available Revel audio system will not disappoint. The very same engineering that makes for a whisper-quiet interior provides a studio-like setting in which to rock out to your music, finding harmony all around you. That's the power of Sanctuary, and that's Lincoln.
Revel and the Revel logo are trademarks of Harman International Industries, registered in the United